Hello, my friend. Right now, on the flip side,
we're going to talk about filling in the gap with the right thing.
And Curt is going to teach us about emotional word pictures.
we're also going to talk about aggressive dissent and silent dissent and what role they play on teams. Join us right now. It's episode 73, The Flip Side.
Let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Flip Side. I'm here with two Flip Side favorites this week.
Yeah.
I got James and I got Jason.
Yeah, man, been a long time.
Has it been a long time?
It has.
I asked
I'm glad
Haley
to
to
be
get you
back.
every week, and then she kind of, she goes,
Wow.
Stephanie would be good. That's usually what she says.
Wow.
That's factual. That's factual. I'm not upset about
Dr.
that.
Caine.
So you gotten the orange on today. This is good.
Yeah,
It's
I think it's
like,
fuchsia.
are you going to go hunting right after this?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's my hunter's winter wear. I'm just breaking it out.
Have you
Because
ever hunted in your life?
maybe.
He's
Have
from
you-
Alabama, of course.
He's from
funny.
Alabama? That's off the topic. We're talking about communication.
Yes.
We're talking about families. We had a weekend, we talked about courageous communication. We
Yeah, man.
started at Proverbs 18:21. The tongue has the power of life and death.
That's absolutely
and those
right.
who love it will eat its fruit. In other words, what you say really determines almost every single other thing in all of your relationships.
Man.
And we're specifically today going to talk about the idea of what do you do when you're stuck in conversation? How do you use your words to bring life to someone who doesn't want to open up and talk to you? And we're going to go category by category with my two experts here. Before we do that, let's bring in Serena with some coffee to caffeinate this conversation.
Yes,
What do we got,
sir.
Serena?
We have some Temple Coffee Roaster beans from Brazil with flavor notes of melon, orange zest, and honey.
Okay.
Melon.
Did Lucas bring these in?
Flavors I like.
No, Haley and I actually bought them yesterday.
Oh,
Because he's from Brazil.
Yes.
Oh, I'm dead.
it's a reference.
Yeah.
Just a quick reference.
Shout out to Lucas.
Shout out.
Shout out to Lucas, who was gone last week and he's back this week. And now we got Brazilian coffee, so that is a good correlation.
Thanks.
So the tongue has the power of life and death.
Good.
People are open to you. People.
This is probably the best coffee I've had on the show.
I'm just
It's
glad
really
it's not
good.
cold
Oh,
as it tends to be.
sorry, that's really good.
I moved
said-
locations and got hot coffee. I love it, man.
Yeah. By the way, we're in the new Bayside Cafe at the Grand Bay campus, if you didn't notice that. So the words you use, let's get on topic here. I'm eager to get this because we got a lot to cover.
Okay.
The words you use, they determine whether or not your team will follow you. They determine whether or not your spouse will open up to you. They determine whether your roommates will follow through and do their part of the chores, and you'll have good roommates and laugh and all pay the bills together and actually be friends. They determine, and a lot of times we think there's so much more going on than there is, but it's really almost always about how we're speaking to people when we're not speaking to people and the words we use. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go down some categories and I'm gonna ask you guys to give your best advice on how to get the conversation going.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna fill in the blank. You ready for this?
Okay.
Okay. Let's start with kids. You're both parents of younger children. You pick your kid up from elementary school. They get in the car, nothing. Nothing. Your parent is immediately.
One of my kids is nothing. The other one is just da 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 da.
Oh, yeah.
It's all, yeah.
But you know, there's something going on there. What do you do?
Yeah, I think with kids in particular, and knowing my kids, if they get in the car and they're quiet, that lets me know that there's something going on.
Right.
So I want to make a relational connection as soon as possible because it's going to determine the rest of my night and how things go.
Right.
So I just simply say, I can tell something happened at school today. What's up? And normally they're going to say, nothing. I can say, I know there's something wrong. What is it? And then they're going to spill it.
Right.
But I think the lesson there is when there is something going on, particularly with your kids, address it immediately.
Right.
Because my kids are waiting for me to address it.
Right.
That's what they're sounding.
And the longer you get away from it, the more complicated it gets, the more intense it often gets, and the less the memory of what really happened often happens.
Right.
Jamie,
Yeah.
what would you do?
I picked up Braxton from school last week. He's 6, and he's a pretty emotional kid. But he's also a little bit, he's wired older than his age. And so I picked him up, his head was down. I knew something was going on, but I also knew if I addressed it in the moment, it was going to be an eruption of emotion. So I just said, hey, I need you to know, I know you're not okay, but we're going to be okay. Let's just get to the car. So we got to the car. I said, hey, how was your day? Boom, he's crying. I said, hey, let's go get a snack. You're not going to want to buy me a snack. I was bad, you know? So he immediately was like, he had done something wrong.
He's coaching you up like, this ain't a reward.
Right. But what was fun is I was able to take that moment and say, hey, no, we're going to get a snack because I've been good today. We're going to go, we're going to get it, and we're going to talk about what happened. And so when he knew that the end result was, okay, listen, no matter how bad today was, what you did, we'll get through it. He just opened up, and when it became a floodgates of stuff, then I was able to coach him, direct him a little more. But I think I had to lean on the connection a little bit earlier.
Yes.
So that's what we did.
Yes. So I liked what you said about once he discovered what the end result was going to be, and also just this idea of going, you need to know I know.
Yeah.
You need to know I know. A lot of times what I think is parents will match the intensity of their children, which was a mistake. So the child comes in, there's an intensity there. I'm not talking this intensity. So immediately the child's like, what happened? Were you bullied? Did this happen? Did that happen? Did you fail? Did you screw up again? And you're bringing the same level of intensity the child has, which, by the way, makes the child feel less powerful, which is a real important thing for children. I'm a small human in a big human's world.
Right.
And then it also makes it more complex. It's hard enough weighing through my emotions,
right?
Let alone all of a sudden I've got some expectation from my parent here. This is obviously riling them up. It's even worse than I thought. The biggest thing I tell parents is you can't get excited, no matter what. If you need to get excited, go in the bedroom, lock the door, turn the stereo up, get excited in there.
Yeah.
But you come out with your kids, go. I used to use the line with the kids all the time, going, all right, I'm not sure how we're going to solve this, but I know this, we're going to solve it together.
Yeah.
We won't solve it alone. I'm not going to solve it, you're not going to solve it, we're going to solve it together. And all of a sudden you lay out that parameter of this is a together thing. They get a lot more relaxed. So what do you do?
Well, there's a resource in the book, actually, to your point, about not meeting the intensity of your kid. It's called Scream-Free Parenting. And the basis of the book is just basically to stay in control as a parent. Because as a parent, once you've lost control, then the whole thing is going off the rails and everybody's upset. But the point that the book is making that as a parent, you make sure that you aren't screaming and yelling and matching the intensity of your kid. They can show out as much as they want to, as we like to say. But as long as you're not meeting that intensity, then you are keeping the situation calm and you're staying in control.
Yes. Well, my kids got around 4th or 5th grade. I did start telling them too, going, listen, you need to take a deep breath and control your emotions. You can do this. Not in a way that's like repressive and going, bottle all that up and keep that all in, but going, your emotions are not your master. You're
in control.
Take a deep breath and speak to me calmly about what's going on here. And, I had one that getting any words out of him was really tough. And I had the other one, if she was upset, man, you got a blow by blow of the entire day on volume 10.
For sure.
And both of them, I kind of had to coach against that wiring and go, come up to here, come down to here. This is where adults talk. This is where mature people talk. We talk right in here.
You know what's wild? With my boys, I noticed there became this rhythm when we moved to California specifically, and they were at school. The first thing when I would come in is they would tell me what happened wrong that day.
Right.
So I sat on the carpet, or I had to go see Miss Williams. They wanted to tell me what was wrong, announce it, get it out of the way, and be done. And so we try to rewire our conversations. So when I come home, I go, hey, what happened that was awesome today? Like, what was really good about your day? We're going to get to whatever went wrong, but what was really good? Because I want us to get in the rhythm of celebrating stuff, not just correcting.
Plus, it's horrible to come home to.
Man, it's so draining.
I can remember that season of just walking up the driveway going, all right, who flunked a whatever and who got in a fight with whoever and all that sort of stuff. Okay. How about adolescence? Let's change this to adolescence. So, all 3 of my kids went through some version of this. My boys more dramatically than my gals, but we're all of them super huggy, super affectionate, super close as pre-adolescents. And then, one day, I call it the fish hug. My boys used to come and they hug me like a fish. And I would say, shoulder to shoulder, arms. I would really literally coach them. Arms, I'm going to squeeze you till you give me the right kind of hug. And what I realized was they were grappling with who they were inside of themselves. They had very little words for themselves. And so it was harder even then for them to put it into words for me. But it didn't mean that it wasn't in there. And just every once in a while, on a rare occasion, all the thoughts would come out.
Yeah.
How are you and mom doing? What's our finances like? What's going on politically in our world? Why do we think this way about this? And those moments when it would come out, I'd always kind of reverse engineer and go, what just happened there? How do I do that again? How do you get your adolescents to talk?
I don't know from a parent standpoint because I have that age group,
Right.
but I know from being a kid. I remember my senior year of high school, my dad and I, we were having trouble connecting, and it was this thing, my dad, in the city I grew up in, he had a really large presence, and I was trying to carve out who I was going to be as a man. And in all of that, it created friction between us. So my dad did this thing, he went and got season tickets to Alabama football. Every home game, we would leave on Friday night after my football game, we would drive to the home game, we would be in Tuscaloosa 2 hours away. My dad would just put me in the car. Some nights we wouldn't even talk Friday night, but he knew somewhere Saturday he was gonna have a moment and be like, so how are things going at school? So how are you feeling about things? And somewhere in there, he would have this like man mentorship moment where he would just find a way to fit in there, this is how life looks. And I look back on it, I didn't know he was doing it. It was the ultimate judo because I think we're going to the football game. Really, he's just taking a moment to be dad.
Yeah.
We talked about it this weekend, but it's tasks that lead to talking. A lot of times what prevents the talking is self-consciousness. And there's no more time where you're more conscious of self than when you're going through puberty. And so you got to get the focus off of self. Not in a bad or selfish way, but you got to do some distracting thing where all of a sudden, it's funny because my kids, when they got about 23, the boys, they go, I need help. Would you mentor me in this? Would you mentor me in that? And I go, I've been mentoring you for a decade. I mean, honestly, I've gone into full
Thanks for
advice
permission.
mode all the time when you're a teenager, but I did it sneaky. So then I started doing this thing, and they laugh about it this day. If I ever kind of do that tasks that lead to talking, and then they start opening up with me, and we have a great conversation, right after the conversation, I'll look at them, I'll go, you've been mentored. And they'll do exactly what you just did. And they're like, I can't believe it. Yeah, I was mentored right there. So, what you remember adolescence at all, Caine? You grew up an old man, though. You were like always...
I mean, I vaguely remember it for myself, but not really, man. It seems like such a long time ago. But what I do know works is, like James and you have clearly said, is distractions. One of the worst phrases I think any of us can ever hear from anybody is, we need to talk.
Yes.
Like if somebody tells you we need to talk, if your boss tells you that,
Come on.
if your friend tells you that, if your
spouse.
spouse tells you that, if your kid tells you that, there's never good news.
It's never
that comes out of,
celebration.
we need to talk. That just causes some instant anxiety in you.
If you're a doctor, don't leave that phone message.
Yeah, no,
We need to
please.
talk.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you tell somebody we need to talk, I think it just heightens their senses and puts them on
Jason.
defense. So dealing with adolescents, if you put them in situations where they know a talk is going to happen, they don't want to talk.
Do you know why that happens sometimes? I think because as parents, in that adolescent change, we make it about our us and our parenting and our relationship. So we're going like, we're not talking anymore. I must be failing as a parent. Is this a slight on me? Do you not know all I've done for you? And just any withdrawal, we don't see it as, okay, this is a normal maturing, that withdrawal. They're figuring out who they are. We go, so we have to talk. Why are we talking more? What's wrong with me?
Right.
I get parents all the time that go, tell me what I'm doing wrong with my son. I'm like, letting him get to 13.
Yeah.
You let him get there.
Yeah.
And one of the things I used to preach all the time too, your thought is reminding me of this, Jason, is I used to preach, and I would preach this with great vigor, and that was when I was a youth pastor for 1 year. I preached this. I'd say, don't let anyone else be the number one spiritual influence in your child's life, Dad. You be the number one.
Yeah.
Don't expect a youth pastor to do the job God's called you to do. What a stupid thing to say.
Oh, I was thinking that. I'm glad you said that.
What a stupid thing to say.
Because you need somebody in a season.
I mean, so my son connected with this youth pastor in Oak Grove. And his name was Mason. My son loved it. He couldn't wait to get to youth group. He'd want to leave late.
Good.
He'd come over every Wednesday and go, you know what Mason said? And he would say something.
And it'd be the same thing you already told
I had told him, or his mom had told him a million times.
Yeah. One of the keys with adolescents is what you're saying is get them in environments where there can be other adults that they trust and want to talk to.
That's so
Yes.
key.
If you're not talking to me, of course I'm gonna feel some sort of way
Sure.
because I'm a parent, but I want my child talking to some responsible adult.
Yeah.
Which I
Yes.
think is the blessing of the church. And
Yeah.
even now cultivating that in my kids, there are people
Yes.
who are around the church that my kids talk to regularly. And that's gonna really help me when my kids get to that age where they don't want to talk to me as much as they talk
Yeah.
now.
What I just did is I just kept hugging and talking, and then right around 22, all of a sudden, boom, it's back.
Yeah.
We're
I think
there.
adolescence is a seed-bearing season.
Sure, totally.
When I was a youth pastor, I would never see the fruit from the kids that would come to church. And I had to remind myself, man, this is a time where I'm just sowing seeds.
building
And
a bridge.
eventually they'll germinate. And as a parent, I think you got to trust that too. When your kids are in that adolescent phase, continue to sow seeds.
Yeah.
And
Don't
trust-
withdraw.
Yeah, don't
Don't
withdraw.
withdraw.
Don't withdraw. You can't match their energy in that way.
Yeah, what are you going to say, man?
I was gonna say, it's funny. I look back at my parents when I turned 13, and I just remembered that they put certain individuals in my life and identified why I needed to connect with them. So it was like, you need to connect with this man. He's good at business. You need to connect with this man. He was a great father. One day you'll be a father. You need to connect with this man. And they would set it up, and we would do stuff like we would go on a walk through the woods, or we would go barbecue, or we'd go to a sport event. But they were trying to create
Get better
essential
parents in life.
conversations that we could get together on. So it was
for
pretty
sure.
key.
I'm not going to tell you who my parents connected me with. It wasn't good. It was not good. Okay, let's widen this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Roommates and teammates. So everyone goes to work, and a whole bunch of people listen to the flip side. They signed a lease with a couple people that they really like. Oftentimes, you get in the roommate situation, you're like, this is awesome. I can't wait we're going to have this great roommate thing. And then you realize it's difficult. And we're actually spending a lot of time in the same domicile, not talking to each other. Or I meet it on teams all the time. When I first came to Bayside, there was 2 teammates working with groups of students that were a grade apart, and they wouldn't speak to each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's not a choice you guys can make. You have to know all the same parents and all the same volunteers.
Yeah, I
You
think
get
back to
stuck in
roommate,
that. Yeah.
roommate and teams. What's a bummer is we actually lie to ourselves and think the longer you let it go, the better it gets.
Exactly.
That's
If you
right.
don't address it, it doesn't get better.
Do not let the sun go down on your anger.
I remember I had a roommate in school, and it was 4 of us in the apartment. And this one guy, he would leave dirty dishes in the apartment. 3 of us would talk about it openly, easily, but we wouldn't talk to him about it.
Right.
By the time we got ready to talk to him, we had so much energy, we had so much emotion, we had psyched each other up. We're like, man, we need to tell him, wash your dishes.
Intervention.
By the time he goes, oh, my bad, guys. Like every time I leave the dirty dishes, somebody would wash them. So I just thought it just happened, like we were good.
Yeah.
And so we realized early
By
on.
the way, I'm still praying for that guy's spouse. Right?
he just got engaged.
That's a
so
horrible
funny.
conclusion to come to, by the way.
But I think in everything, the longer we take, the more emotional energy that gets behind it, the more we start defending it. I think just reaching out, if there's a critical conversation that needs to happen,
totally.
just have the courage to go,
Quicker you have it.
hey,
Yeah.
let's talk.
Yeah, it's the old Ray thing. Speak to people, not about people.
Yeah. And we talked about it this weekend about expectations. And I think going into it with roommates or teammates or on a job, we have this expectation that things are going to be perfect and solid and we won't have any conflict, when really the opposite is true.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that I tell couples when I'm marrying them is to expect there to be some conflict
Yes.
and some differences.
Yes.
But just because there are conflict and differences does not mean that the love between you has gone away. Or, on the job, if there's conflict between Curt and I, there should be an expectation that will happen.
Right.
Yes.
But like what I love is we reconcile quickly.
Yes.
And the quicker you reconcile, the quicker you come to a conclusion where, hey, what you said bothered me, or the way that you said bothered me, the
Right.
quicker you can move on. So keep short accounts and address things when they are an issue, but don't make everything an issue.
That's good. You told me something. You're like, sometimes there's a gap between the expectations and what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like there will be that gap. And you said this. What are you going to fill in the gap with? Trust or suspicion?
Right.
You're like, you have to choose trust.
That's good.
So in the conversation, the tone is coming from the emotion.
Yeah.
If I'm filling in the gap with trust, my tone will be different. The outcome can be different. If I'm filling it with suspicion, that's going to be a really tough
On
conversation.
teams, what I think happens a lot of times is that you have different communication styles, different conflict styles, and you tend to have any team more than 5 people, you tend to have these two things where you have aggressive dissent and silent dissent. Mm-hmm. So aggressive dissent means, and I do that, I'm on the aggressive dissent side.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more of the silent type.
Yeah.
I said to me the other night, I said, this whole conversation is useless. And what I meant was, we are solving the wrong problem. But instead of saying, hey guys, can we slow down? I think we're solving the wrong problem. I said, this whole conversation is useless. It's aggressive dissent. And so a lot of times aggressive dissent, it feels like the normal amount of intensity from my family of origin. Everyone there was fine with it. But to a first-year employee at Bayside who's only heard me tell funny stories on the weekend, what happened to
Fun Curt.
Grace Curt on the weekend? He's yelling at me in this meeting. He's going into an HR meeting after this where they're going to look at budget cuts. Just being aware, and then the silent dissent, here's how the negative affects. So I'm in the room, and I go, I don't really like that idea, and here's the logical reasons why I don't think it's going to work. But I don't want to upset Jason Caine because he's my boss. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to say anything. Well, we say that to ourselves, but then we get out of the meeting, and we're talking to James, and we go, I didn't really, that idea that Caine has, that's never going to work.
That's good.
So now I'm having the hallway meeting that I should have had in the meeting.
Yeah.
And that builds up, and now all of a sudden, ideas aren't being shared. People are not talking. There's a weird quietness. And so Lori Harris is really big on this. She's a great team manager. She's like, at the end of every meeting going, no silent dissent. You will not be in any way punitive. It'll be rewarded and encouraged if you go, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But just say it in a professional way and give your reasons and your expertise. Good. You're in the room because you have expertise.
If you're the person in charge, I think you have to set that tone in the meeting.
Yeah, Ray does that, but at the end of every meeting he goes, now does anyone want to say anything about anything?
Yeah, yeah. And he doesn't just say that. He is looking, and he will hear you.
Yes.
And as a person, if you're leading people, if they know their ideas are going to be heard, they'll be more likely to speak up. But if they know they're going to share an idea and nothing's going to come of it and you're not going to hear them, then eventually they'll stop talking. I think there's a phrase, I can't remember who said it, but essentially it says, leaders who won't listen will eventually not have anybody willing to say anything to them.
Yeah.
And so people will stop talking because you won't listen.
From a good podcast, I'm getting a little convicted. So let me talk about a roommate thing too. And I think this happens with families. It definitely happens with siblings, but I see it a lot with roommates. Because my life is busy, and because we're roommates, we're friends, we're close. I consider you one of my closest friends, but it's not like we're married, and leases could change. I think we let little disappointments build up, and you go, when is the moment where we get that out? I had one roommate, very similar thing. All the chores had been done, who's doing what and when, and he wasn't doing his stuff. And I'm a bit of an order freak. I like a peaceful, orderly environment. I'm getting more and more angry on the inside. We finally have dinner, and I unload on him. I'm like, man, you are not doing your share. This and this and this. The counters, I did them for you. The garbage, blah, blah, blah. He immediately just repents. I'm so sorry. I've got a lot on my mind. I'm really, really sorry. And then he starts crying. I'm like, what's wrong? He goes, my dad's terminally ill.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, I am so busy and so distracted by my agenda. I'm more worried about the garbage. I haven't noticed that this guy got a phone call a week ago. He's not talked to any of us about it. And there was no family meeting. There was no, hey, how are you doing? In that roommate busyness. And just, I go, like, we need to have like once a week where we go, catch me up on your life so I can have empathy for everything you're going through, you know?
Yeah. Because I think sometimes we don't know what puzzle people are putting together in the conversation. So we can be at work thinking we're working on a work puzzle, but they have a family puzzle they're putting together, and they just mess up the work puzzle. We're going, oh, that doesn't fit there. So in those moments, I think we give the benefit of the doubt, but then we come back around and go, hey, that didn't feel like you. What was that piece? That piece doesn't feel like our relationship. Right. And I think it helps make it something that they don't have to own. If we give them something they have to own, you did this or you said this, I think it makes it a little harder. If we go, that didn't seem like who you normally are, it lets people get rid of it quicker, I think.
Well, how good would it be if we had a rough interaction at work and our first assumption is, are you okay? instead of
It's really good.
Instead
It's
of
really hard, but it's
you
really
know,
good.
hey, dude, come on, what were you doing in that meeting? Or
good.
yeah, I wish I was like that.
Yeah,
too, more.
empathy is
Empathy.
a key skill. Let me ask a question,
Okay,
Curt.
go.
What, you can't bring up everything, right? Everything that bothers you, I don't know that you should bring up. When does something rise to the level where you should have a conversation about it with someone else?
I try to bring up everything, Jason. That's a great question. It really is a great question. It's funny because I counsel marriage couples, and this will transition into the spouse talk here. Get to the place quickly where you're tired with little arguments. And so, in marriage, I think what happens is you kind of go, how much of me am I going to give away? No one ever, some people may say that. But that's kind of the little struggle. You're going like, I'm giving myself fully to you, but I still stay myself. So, we fold clothes this way. Your family folds clothes that way. We have Christmas on this day. You have it on that day. Get to the place quickly where you give up on all those little arguments and then go, all of my conflict inertia has got to be on 2 or 3 more fundamental things. The parenting, my identity, our significance as a couple, how we do conflict. Not the littler things. How you draw that line, though, where is a little thing?
What's that thing? And it's not about the conversation, but there's a saying: if it won't matter in 5 years, don't give it 5 minutes, something like that.
Right.
But I think that's the idea of on the majors.
I would shorten that though. If it don't matter in 5 days, then
Yeah.
don't let it
For
last
most
5
men,
minutes.
it's 15 minutes.
I think I try to see, is it a building block? Like, is this a pattern? Is this a character trait? Or is this just an action?
Right.
If there's a character trait to this, if this is going to be something that is going to affect, like the way we're doing laundry is we're wasting a bunch of money and this is going to affect how we do our budget, which affects our family peace, then we have to have a conversation.
So a lot of times with the Thrive students, when we're in the discipleship groups with them, and I'll do this with my kids too, I'll say, I like that, what you just said, but can you go a level deeper for me? And a lot of times, it's 3 more levels before you really get to the real thing. So, okay, I'm glad that's bothering you. Can you go a level deeper than that? Let's talk about this very specifically for a minute in the context of spouses. Your spouse is shutting down. Earlier in my marriage, I ran across these Gary Smalley tapes, The Incredible Worth of a Man, The Incredible Worth of a Woman, the incredible content. One of the key concepts he talked about is closing the spirit of your spouse. And the second he gave me that phrase, I saw myself doing it to Kelly.
Yeah. Same.
Like I'm going, I just won the argument, but I lost her.
Yeah.
I just was rude right there. I was just I wasn't even arguing with you. I just was a brutish, stupid person right there. And I saw it on her physically, and then she would, when my spirit gets offended, I talk more. When her spirit gets offended, she talks less. How do you draw a spouse back out? How do you win that trust and conversation again?
Yeah, if it's been lost, then I think apology and acknowledgement go a long way.
Yes.
So if you've closed off the spirit of your spouse, then you have to do something to apologize for the action that
A
took place.
soft answer quenches wrath.
Yeah,
It turns away
absolutely.
wrath, yeah.
Yeah. And so in doing that and apologizing and then giving them time for recovery, because a lot of times we think we've shut somebody's spirit down, we apologize, they've moved past it. Give them a moment or a few hours or a day to get over it and come back, and then don't do the thing that was offensive
It's
to
so
them.
my
to
wife
start
used to
with.
say to me all the time, I'm not a switch. I said, we solved this, right? Yes, we have on the merits of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not a switch, so
Right.
give me a minute
Right.
to transition into what we've decided.
Right. Yeah. Give me some time to deal with the woman.
Yes.
I think too, it's the owning it. Like, I mean, it's so funny. I literally last night had the opportunity to do this. So last night I said something immediately. I watched Britt. Her head went down, and you guys know her. She's like bubbly, joyful, and I was like, whoa, I said that. That was really dumb. I own it. What I just communicated was, and to communicate the deeper feeling that she's feeling and having to own that is not what I want to own. I want to own, I just said this. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal because when I said that, it made you feel this. I own that feeling because I produced it. I'm sorry. I used to just think you could like kiss and I'd like rub your arm. She's like, no, like I need you to own what just took place.
Right.
Yeah, if my wife knows I really own it, it's because then I go do a chore right then. Because she's works of service.
Same, Britt, same.
But Gary Smalley is another thing where he talks about speak in emotional word pictures. So I like to argue this way. At 3 o'clock on Tuesday, I said exactly this, and here's what I meant. You took it this way, and he's like, you are never going to solve an argument that way. You're never going to pull out the emails. You're never going to solve an argument that way. You have to say, I just made you feel like you were climbing a mountain, didn't I? I just made you feel like you had gotten this wheelbarrow halfway up a mountain, and then I made you let go of it, and it went back. Now you got to go all the way back down again. That's how you made me feel.
Man, that's extremely clever.
And
Is there a list of these things?
I'm like, ask Curt for a list.
I've literally used, by the way, I use them in preaching all the time. When I'm putting a sermon, I don't have time for a big illustration right here. I go, what's the emotional word picture of the truth of this concept?
Sounds Jesus-y.
And
the log and the...
No, it is.
Trying to squeeze them down.
Absolutely is. And then I'm not going, you got that exact detail wrong. I'm going, oh, you get me.
Have you felt that way?
You get me. You get me. You understand me. And then all of a sudden that empathy removes offense and vulnerability is able to happen. And
That's key.
all right. So we talked about adolescents. We talked about roommates. We talked about teammates. We talked about spouses. Here's my one last. I have one last thought. You guys, one last thought? And I'll share my one last thought, and you can go. Here's my one last thought. Do whatever creates more conversation. So a lot of times I'll have parents come to me and go, I have this really hard talk with my teenager. Or I'll have someone come to me and say, I have to have a really hard talk with my business partner. And I'll go, the harder the talk is, the more you want to follow this rule. How can I speak the truth in love in a way that will creates more conversation, not shuts more conversation down? If it's hard, one conversation is almost never going to solve it. So your adolescent is caught doing something that it's worrisome to you, it's shameful, it's difficult. Man, the last thing you want to do is go, if we talk about this honestly, this will be the last time we talk. You want to go, this is multiple conversations, and I'm going to do something that causes you to want me to talk to you more, not less.
Do you think that's giving people buy-in in it? I think you do this often. You'll say, what do you think about that? Or how does that make you feel? I think giving people buy-in continues the conversation. Whereas if I just say my piece, I say my truth, it can shut the conversation down.
When you work on college campuses, you learn what I call RA speak. So every RA goes through the thing, and it's genius, and it's, here's what I hear you saying. Did you mean this? Something you said I find really interesting. Or here's a big one. Help me understand. Hey, help me understand that a little bit more. And anytime you put a question on the end of something instead of a statement, it's inductive, it creates more dialogue. And then oftentimes, even if what I really want to do is I want to get to action. I want you to act differently. You're my child, you're my teammate, I want you to act differently. Instead of going, here's what you have to do differently, I make an offer with a request. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say we need to meet more and talk about this. But I have one request between here and the next time we talk. And I'll make an offer and request. Haley is telling me that we're going too long. Final thoughts, you guys?
No final thoughts, man. Love learning from you today.
Yeah, this is great. I would love the Curt-isms. Give me those, please.
Right.
All right, well, we'll get a
I feel like you just built a back door on my barn. That won't work, but that's all I got in my mind. So I need more of those metaphors.
You just built a back door on my barn.
You're letting stuff out.
Okay.
You're letting the money fall out the back.
My granddad used to tell my grandma, you're looking at me like a calf at a new gate.
A calf and a new. Okay.
I don't know what it was.
I got one about hogs, but it has to have them off camera. Okay. Hey, you guys! Thank you so much for tuning in to the Flip Side. Again, the vision here is that we don't just listen to a sermon on the weekend, but we live the Word of God in our lives every single day. I hope you're having these sort of conversations more and more about the truth in God's Word with everyone around you. And by the way, share this one. Would you just take a minute right now and share this with someone? Subscribe and like and spread the word. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you the next time on the Flip Side.
Peace.